Oh, hey. So there's a massive market out there for cheap websites. It's huge. And so it can be very tempting to offer a cheap website solution. But in the wise words of Admiral Akbar, it's a trap! Hang around and I'll show you what to do instead. This is Hassle Free Websites, and I'm your self opinionated host, Justin Meadows. If you're looking to make selling websites easier and more profitable for your business, then you're in the right place. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. So, firstly, I'm just going to cover a few of the reasons why you shouldn't be offering cheap websites. Firstly, it's bad for your clients. You're not doing anyone any favors by offering them a cheap website. There will not be enough time to design an awesome website that will help the business to grow. Shortcuts will often need to be made in the development and the testing that could lead to other problems further down the track that might even cost more to fix than it would have been to just spend the extra money to make it properly from the start. And also, if you've got a low profit, then it's hard to provide a quality service. When you're selling a cheap website, there's often smaller profit in each project, so it's harder to allow time to give a quality service. In order for your business to survive with a low profit on each project, you need to churn through heaps and heaps of projects. And so you can't give any one of them the care and attention that they deserve. And then if something does go wrong on the project, it's really hard to bring yourself to spend too much time and effort to go the extra mile to fix things and that sort of thing, because you start losing money on that project pretty quickly. So even if you do have all the right intentions, working with such a small profit margin, it really is hard to deliver awesomeness. It also is bad for your portfolio. You don't want to be working on websites that you're not proud of. Sometimes you really need to do the occasional project here and there that's not quite that great. But as much as possible, you want to be working on projects that you're proud to show off to everyone that you know. It's bad for your referrals. You're not going to get people telling their friends, yeah, he built me a pretty average website, but it was cheap. And even when you do get referrals from that sort of recommendation, they're probably not the kind of clients that you actually want. And then this is the next problem. You often attract the wrong sort of clients when you're competing mainly on price. And because they don't see you as a trusted advisor, then they're more likely to want to micromanage the project and get in there and question everything you're doing and probably steer away from what would be the ideal solution for them. In general, they're just harder to deal with. One of the reasons for this is that clients that go after cheap are often in the earlier stages of their business. They're just starting to grow. And because of this, they might be not quite at a stage yet where they can get a great result out of the awesome website that you do build for them. Because of that, they're probably better off just going with one of those cheap website services that aren't great, but they're just going to fulfill their needs in the short term. Once they're ready and they've grown their business and they've proven that their business model works and that sort of thing, they know that they can get a return on that investment, then they can come back to you and get a properly custom designed website built. I guess my main point is that it's far more rewarding, both financially and also just personally, to be dealing with clients who really see the value in what you can provide. And they know that they can get a great result and you can help them get an awesome result for their business. Working like this is far better than churning through heaps of cheap clients that don't really value what you're doing for them. I do want to point out at this point that it is still worth, especially when you're starting out, to offer perhaps a heavily discounted service to people to build up a portfolio. But you don't want to set your prices low. You want to set high prices, but then just give them the discount in exchange for being able to be used as a case study, perhaps. Now for some action tips. So how do we go about avoiding the cheap website trap? Firstly, what you can do is just ignore what other people price their websites at. Just don't even worry about that. There is always going to be someone else cheaper. So don't start by comparing yourself to other service providers. Where you should be starting with your pricing is how much you are really worth to the customer. And you got to make sure that you're covering your expenses and making a bit of a profit for yourself so that you can grow. But beyond that, you should be valuing your services at how much value you're bringing to your client. And it can really help to frame the website cost as a investment to your clients, not as an expense. And it's important to see the differences, because really a website is an asset for a business. It helps the business to make more money, and it increases in value and grows in value for that business. Whereas expenses are things that you just pay because you have to when they go away. They don't actually add anything to the business. So when you're doing your proposing with the client, you can talk about how much extra value you're going to be bringing into their business with the extra leads and customers that they might get by having a website that's designed well, that's going to generate extra sales for them. The other thing you can do is make sure that you're positioning yourself as the expert. And there's a few different ways that you can do that. I discussed that all in episode 5. So just go back to episode 5 and check that one out. However, one thing that I might just point out now is that by niching down into a small market so that you truly understand that market better, it's a lot easier to be seen as the expert at providing that sort of service to that market. So that can help you avoid them worrying about pricing as a factor. They just want to get the best. On the flip side of that, if you do price yourself too cheap, you might actually lose business because people don't trust in your expertise. People expect the best service providers to be a little bit more expensive than the cheap ones. And there's a lot of businesses out there that will go for the more expensive ones simply because they believe it's more expensive because it's better. So even if you are better, but you price yourself too low, they might go for someone else who's just charging more. Another thing you can do, apart from having like a killer proposal written out, is make sure you have those examples and case studies so that you can back up the fact that you are good at what you do, so you can show them proof of the kind of websites that you can build. And by increasing your referrals, by getting people referred to you, it's a lot easier to price yourself higher, because when they're referred to you, they already trust that you're going to do a great job, and so they're not as worried about the price. And just in general, make sure your focus is on the benefit for them. Make sure you're going to get them great results and explain the great results that you're going to get for them. Don't talk so much about the nitty-gritty features or how many hours you're going to spend on it or what's included, that sort of thing. That's really not as important as what benefit it brings to the client. So if you do come across people who can't see the value that you can provide, they don't understand the skills and expertise that you have, and they're not seeing the value that they're going to get out of your website that you build for them, then they're really just not a good fit. And you need to be prepared to just turn those people away and say, look, I don't think that you're going to be a good fit for my business. We're not going to work together well because you just want X, and so you're better off going somewhere else for that. Because otherwise, if you try and convince them of the value and bring them on, and it's not really going to be a great fit for them, then it can turn into a major headache for you, and you might end up regretting that. You're better off working just with clients who see the value and you know from the start that they're going to be a good fit. So today we covered a few of the main reasons why it's no good working in the cheaper end of the market and building cheap websites, plus a few things that you can do to avoid those cheaper website projects. Make sure you stick around next week, because we're going to be discussing building websites from templates and how this can lead to a bit of a messy situation and how to avoid that. In other news, the man who invented the door knock has been awarded the Nobel Prize. New rock band 999 Megabytes has released their first album. Unfortunately, they haven't got a gig yet. And 3 men were fired from the local calendar factory for taking a day off.